for a reason. We're going to get to our, what we're here to talk about today. Will had a great question yesterday that I don't think got enough play. So, with the schedule coming out of the SEC, now moving to 14 teams, obviously there has to be some changes. The SEC decided to stay with an 8-team conference schedule. That means that, some rivalries have to go away, or we're not going to see – Auburn won't see Florida, I believe, until 2019, and won't be headed to Gainesville again until, I think, 2025. So that was always a great rivalry. Auburn-Tennessee was a great rivalry, but these are just not going to be coming around as much or as frequently as they used to unless they see each other in the SEC title game. Will had a great question because of that. What's your favorite Auburn-Florida memory? Just kind of a side, a B part of that question, who would you like to see Auburn play more often? Which rivalry are you going to miss the most? Is it Auburn-Tennessee? Is it Auburn-Florida? Some people might say Vanderbilt. I don't know. It may depend on where you want to go, what venues you like to attend. A lot of people like to go to away games that they treat that as kind of a vacation. So that's our question of the day, brought to you by Lee Marketing Group. For signage, tees, web design, and more, call on LMG today at 334-742-0197. Lee Marketing Group, success by design.
I could stay with this one as long as you want to, and we're trying to, especially during the off season, present questions to you out there that kind of bring your juices to a boil about your old memories of going to games and seeing these games. And again, we welcome your phone calls. I'll start with one that is one of the best memories I have, and that's the '94 game and the Nix to Sanders touchdown pass in the left corner of the end zone. The '93 game was always, in my opinion, considered to be a farce. The 35-33 win for Auburn, you still hear it when Auburn is claiming that '93 national title, not because Auburn's claiming it. The NCAA recognizes us with that national title, so we may as well claim it. But I was on Sports Blitz the other night with my great friend Luke Robinson, and the point he made, do you really think, honestly, that y'all would have beaten Florida twice that year? Well, yes, I do believe that we would have beaten Florida twice, because the next time we played them, we were on the road at their place when they were number one in the country. We went down there and beat them again. And with that touchdown pass, so '93, great game there, but '94 really made our point that we were there during that day and age.
Yeah, that '93 team, they found a way to win. It didn't really matter. They had a tremendous amount of talent. That's one of the things I think that it's kind of a misnomer, or it's kind of people get the wrong idea. They always say, well, that team didn't have a lot of stars. There was a ton of guys off that team who played in the NFL. There was some really good football players on that team, but they found ways to win. It didn't matter. I mean, whether it was a goal line stand against Vanderbilt in Nashville, like you say, Florida's up 10-0. All of a sudden, they're going in for a score, and Calvin Jackson returns a long touchdown, almost 100 yards, interception return for a touchdown. They found ways to win. That 93 team was special. Now, you could always say, well, they lost Stan White in the final game of the season. Would they have won without him going forward? Who knows? Nobody will ever know.
But you can't throw that out there that if you'd have seen Florida again, you'd have never beat them. No, it doesn't work that way, because we beat them the very next time we saw them, and it was the next year. And that's the reason I think this is a great question for those out there, because 50-plus years, every year we played Florida. I remember so many of those growing up, and I know a lot of you out there remember so many before you and I were born. And that's the reason I hate to see this go away. I really do. If there's one team that I would rather play every year, it is Florida. For some of you, it may be the trip over to Knoxville every other year. You may enjoy that. But, Andy, to me, I would love to see us play Florida more, but the 14-team league and the potential of moving this to 16, 18, I don't know where it ends. I mean, I think that it has become an issue that when you add 14 teams, then to 16, then 18 potentially, or whatever it may be, it doesn't even feel like your own league anymore. I mean, you don't even see these teams for 8 to 10 years sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, and if Auburn goes to a 9-game schedule, is it going to change that much? I mean, would they say you have two permanent opponents and one rotator? Would you have two rotators and one permanent? I don't even, I'm not sure it would all of a sudden, Auburn's going to play Florida over and over again. As long as the way it is now and the way that football is set up, it has changed. One game, the '89 game, stands out for me. I was 13 years old. I went, with my uncle. One of the first games that I went to that was a really big-time game. It was a boring game, but nonetheless, it was an exciting game. It was 7-3, in the fourth quarter. Auburn finally puts one drive together. Reggie Slack leads Auburn down the field, and I believe there was maybe 40-something seconds left. We had just crossed midfield, and time was running out, had no timeouts. And, it just kind of – I was sitting in the opposite corner of the end zone that Shane Wasden caught the pass. And, it was fourth down, and Slack drops back, and you could just see it. I don't know what Florida was looking at, but you could just see Wasden come open. And it was like a collective gasp, from everybody in that end zone that could see the play developing. A beautiful pass, and you knew that Wasden was not going to drop it. He's that guy. He would not drop that pass for anything. And I think to this day it's probably the loudest explosion of noise I've ever heard at Jordan-Hare. That's including the kick six, because that was kind of a building, to a euphoria moment. But this was just one giant, great noise, So the '89 game is my favorite memory of Auburn, Florida.
Another one of those 80 games that were so important, 87 game to me. And it was a great stretch for Auburn football. It was a great stretch to grow up as an Auburn fan in the late 80s. And I'm 10 years old, and Emmitt Smith is coming into town, and the buzz around the country is Emmitt Smith, and coming out of Florida and missing out on going to Auburn. Auburn had their paws on him, from what I understand, for a long time. It was a good chance between Florida and Auburn. He decides to go to Florida. It was a poor decision for him when it came to head-to-head matchups, because we never lost to him.
And he never had 100 yards.
No, I think he had 50-something that night in '87. Jeff Berger was held out of the ball game to begin with because of for whatever it may be, cheating on a test. I don't think it bothered Pat Dye too bad, because the only thing he did was hold him out for one play.
It was a miscommunication.
Remember that clearly, asking, how long is Reggie Slack going to be in the game? This could be trouble. And my dad saying, not long. And it wasn't. It was one play, and Jeff Berger into the ball game. And Auburn's defense was the name of the game that night. And that '87 team was a great one. But the whole stretch right there in the late '80s were great teams. And some of the best games that you saw were those Florida games. They were so important because they are always good also. And even moving into the 2000s, we can keep going down the list, whether it be the kick to beat Tim Tebow. That was another big one. We hadn't even moved into the 2000s yet, Andy.
Oh, yeah, and you go back to 2006. I mean, Florida comes in. Florida wins the national championship that year, but they come into Jordan-Hare Stadium and look like they're going to run away with the ball game. And I don't know what Tuberville said to the Auburn at halftime, but they look like a completely different team. You had the block punt that Trey Smith tumbles into the end zone, and that was, again, one of those loud explosions. It seemed like, I don't know what it is, but, there's some extra juice with an Auburn-Florida game.
I think the reason is because they're so highly ranked when we're beating them. Many of these games that we bring up, Florida was ranked in the top 5 for sure. Many of these games we're talking about, they were ranked number 1. And I don't know what. I think that's the reason us Auburn fans would love to see Florida more often, because more times than not over the last 20-some-odd years, Auburn's had their number for whatever reason. Now, Florida's whooped us a few of those times also, but for us to sneak up and beat them, the couple that we're talking about, were always important to us. But, again, our question of the day, if there's a rival that you'd like to see us play more often than we're able to now with the SEC setup, which team is that? And one of them for Andy and myself is Florida. Which is one memorable game or one memorable moment that you have during a Florida and Auburn game? 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Easy as going to Twitter also. Sportscall AU is where you can find us there.
We're up against our first break, but please stay with us. There's more to come on this Friday edition of Sports Call right after this.
All right, guys, bring it in. Listen up. I want to talk about last night. Yes, sir. Maybe you had your friends over, huh? cracked open some icy cold Budweisers, and maybe, just maybe, you had yourselves the night of your life. Well, yesterday's over, boys, but tonight is just beginning. You got a bunch of bonus buds sitting pretty in your fridge. I want you to crack them open, and I want you to mass text all your friends and round them all up again for round 2. I don't want to hear. I do not want to hear. But we're tired from yesterday, Coach. Or the cleaning lady just left. That's what the fool who missed it would say. Gentlemen, listen to me. You need to go out there and live, and you need to do it tonight. Carpe diem, boys. And while you're at it, carpe nitem too. Great times await. Grab some buds.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
It was just one of those days. I had a million things to do. This was the last thing I was expecting.
No matter how well you drive, things happen. And when they do, the ASE certified technicians at Franklin Tire and Auto know there's only one way to fix it, the right way. From accident repair to factory scheduled maintenance, Franklin Tire will give you honest, dependable service at a competitive price. Proudly serving the area since 1970 and still locally owned and operated.
No shortcuts, no compromise, and friendly service every time. Franklin Tire and Auto in Auburn, 821-4572 and franklinautoinc.com.
Auburn Bank has money to lend because you have a dream to start, a business to expand, folks to take care of, a future to secure. For what matters most to you in your life, our experienced lenders are ready to assist you in achieving your goals. Auburn Bank, since 1907, your partner, your neighbor, your friend. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Online at auburnbank.com.
I'm so tired of eating pizza.
You want a real meal? You know, just like Mama's home cooking. Then dine in, carry out, or have veggies to go on South College. Cater your next meal. You can eat food just like Mom's, 7 days a week, and have something different every day. Pork chops, country fried steak and gravy, meatloaf, and more. Served with all kinds of fresh veggies and casseroles. And don't miss out on Miss Jeannie's homemade desserts. So when you're craving the comfort from home, it's used to go on South College in Auburn.
Auburn Links is your home for great golf. Just off exit 51, Auburn Links features a beautiful layout with Bermuda grass greens and rolling fairways, all right next to Ferguson's Mill Creek. For the last 20 years, Auburn Links has been providing Lee County with the best golfing experience around whatever your skill level may be. Looking for a fun family activity? Auburn Links has great group rates and membership specials for everyone, and their weekday rates now include Fridays. Be sure to follow Auburn Links on Facebook and Twitter for special deals and limited time offers. Auburn Links on Shell Tumor Parkway. Call 887-5151.
Everyone knows the Honey Baked Ham Company is the most delicious ham around. But did you know that we have all the perfect dishes for your summer get-together as well? Hey, this is Crystal with Honey Baked Ham on Gateway Drive in Opelika. Honey Baked is now offering barbecued ribs and fresh barbecued pork roast, perfect for your family reunion or outdoor party. With sides like broccoli rice casserole, green bean casserole, macaroni and cheese, and more, stop by Honey Baked to get everything you need when the family is coming into town. Call us today at 741-8411. Honey Baked Ham, perfect every time. We guarantee it.
Don't give up just yet. All Around Computers can help. 887-7773. They come to you for all your technology and computer service needs. If you don't want to install it, configure it, or even deal with it, All Around Computers can do it all. 887-7773. Do you have pop-ups, viruses, or is your computer running slow? All Around Computers can help you with it all. Don't call All Around. Call All Around Computers today. They come to your home or business for all your technology service needs. 887-7773.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Sports Call. Andy Graham and Randy Lee here with you for taking you up to the 6 o'clock hour, taking your phone calls, talking about anything you'd like to talk about in the wide world of sports. A lot going on, not just, our question of the day, which is what's your favorite Auburn, Florida memory, or who would you like to see Auburn play that they're not going to get a chance to, what SEC team, but a lot going on in the world of sports. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban made some controversial comments. He has since apologized maybe for the imagery, so to speak, but certainly he says he stands by his words overall. Donald Sterling shockingly came out today and said that he was going to allow his wife to negotiate the sale of the Clippers. That's not official, but apparently it is official from his point of view. So a lot going on in the world of sports. If you'd like to talk about any of that, feel free to give us a call at 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free or 887-3401 locally. We're going to have a guest in our next segment, Braden Goff, a writer for Athlon Sports and host of SiriusXM College Sports Nation. They have Auburn ranked number 5 in the country in their publication. We're going to talk to him about that and why Auburn is ranked where they are and how they feel about it. But give us a call. Let us know what you think. Interact with us on social media any way that you see fit.
Great new title sponsor of the program here, and we appreciate Always Money. So you'll hear those commercials throughout the program, and Always Money, the new title sponsor of Sportscall. So if you're looking for loans out there, there's plenty of locations. We'll run those down in the weeks to come, but tune in to Always Money and Sportscall will be brought to you by them. 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. A couple of other key stats out there I'll throw out to you as we're talking about the Auburn and Florida series. This game's been played a lot, and a very closely matched series, and I think that's always an important meaning for a rivalry. I mean, it's fun to say that that's our rival over there, but if it's not closely matched and one is very easily holding the demand of the series lead, then it's not much of a rival there. But this is 43-38-2. Auburn holds the all-time series lead. Florida, it's kind of those streaky rivalries also. 95 and 2000, won 7 times during that stretch. But this game's been being played since 1912. The first time these two teams met where they both were ranked was Auburn's national championship year. Auburn finishes in 1957 as the national title winner, and Florida was ranked number 19 when Auburn took them on that year. To nothing, and ends up the season ranked in the top 20 for only the second time in the history of the program. So, again, Andy, back to that. There's 3 series that are the closest series in SEC history. Auburn happens to be in 2 of those. 43-38-2 against Florida. Georgia is 54-54-2. Now, I'm on Wikipedia, so let's hope these numbers are correct, but this is what I'm getting here. The other one that is as closely matched when you look down through these rival games is the Florida and Tennessee series, which Florida holds the overall mark there at 23-19. So I hate to see it, especially when you've seen 2 teams play as often as these 2 have.
Yeah, and you see Florida and Tennessee, 23-19, haven't played nearly as many games, even though that's considered a great rivalry now because they're both in the East. But until, the league split in 1992, Auburn and Florida goes back far greater than they have. And like you said, a tremendous rivalry, and what makes it a tremendous rivalry is how close it is.
Let's go to the phone line. Shadow and Prattville, you're on Sportscall.
Yeah, thank you for taking the call. I got quite a few things I want to bring up. Let's talk about Florida for a second. Hello?
Yeah, we're here. Go ahead.
Okay, number one, I think Florida, the last couple of times that they played, and especially under Muschamp, I think conceivably that this could be the last year Muschamp is your head coach. And if they go out there and get a great coach, which I don't know who it may be, but if Florida wasn't as bad as they've been lately, Auburn would have lost those games under Chiswick as well. I mean, why can't we get a great rival with Vanderbilt or Kentucky? Or, I mean, is Auburn, do we just want to see how hard we can make our schedule every single year? Now we're going to be going away from home to Georgia and to Alabama at a set time. I mean, What is the deal with the people? I mean, is Jacobs? I mean, don't get me wrong. I ain't mad at Jacobs. Jacobs has been hiring some great hires, except for baseball. But why do we have to continue to up our schedule strength? I mean, what's going on?
You know, personally, I'd hate to see us, and I would roll over if I saw us lose that Alabama game or that Georgia game, and I hate to see us lose Florida. I'd rather play the best team, Shadow. I hear where you're coming from, and I think, yes, year in and year out, our record would be better if we took on Kentucky and Vandy rather than Georgia and Florida, but I'd much rather play Georgia and Florida because their fan bases make it more worthwhile to beat them.
Well, you know what? I would say based on 1983, Auburn proved that year, and it's been proved on a consistent basis every year, that schedule ain't got nothing to do with it. Because if schedule strength meant anything, Auburn would have won the title in 1993. 83.
Well, the 83, the 83 though, Shadow, I don't think Auburn did anything. That's no longer. I mean, with the BCS set up the way that it is and the 4-team playoff, you'll never see a team like the 83 team get jumped like that. That was just all poll-based. And
let's talk about that for just a second. Now, with ESPN already predicting the Final Four, and I've been screaming this for at least a couple of months, you've already got ESPN picking Alabama, Auburn, Oregon, and Florida State. Now, let me tell you what that means. That means with Florida State being ranked number 1, Alabama would be ranked number 2 in the preseason. I think you'll find that will be true. Obviously, the regular season. What that means as well is that Alabama, if they're ranked number 2 and they lose, they still don't drop out of the 14 playoff for the national title. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if everybody in the whole country says, and this is what it's going to get down to, it ain't going to make no difference in schedule strength, because they're going to say this. Well, Alabama is the best team, so they're the one that's going to play in the title. They've already predicted it. Now, I know they're the ones that's not going to be voting on it. I know there's a panel. But once again, it puts additional pressure on whoever's voting to line up with the big, great ESPN. You just can't justify it. But as far as playing I just don't get it. I think we need to ease up on the 9-game schedule. The only one in the country that is for that is Nick Saban. And once again, this year, based on opponent winning percentage, he's got the weakest schedule in the SEC. And it's been that way for some time. So, I love a great football game and everything, but Auburn's schedule is plenty strong enough. We could lose one of these great rivalries and still have a schedule that's strong enough to get us to the title game. And that's my point. It's not, you look at Alabama ain't even got a starting quarterback. They've lost half their team. And I know y'all think I'm like a record about Alabama, but if you look at it, it makes no sense. It makes no sense for Alabama, even as highly rated as number 2, to lose to Auburn at the end of the regular season and still go to the national title game. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Shadow. We're up against our next break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on this Friday Sports Call.
Ever wondered what LNG can do for you? The possibilities are endless.
LMG offers custom apparel and promotional products, any type of signage and vehicle wraps, web design and internet marketing, video production, paper products, and more. Visit us online at leemarketing.net. 3 locations to best serve you: Madison Street in Alexander City, Highway 280 in Dadeville, and Frederick Road in Auburn. LMG, success by design.
So, you're a business owner in need of durable, comfortable work uniforms and hats. Or maybe your high school won the section championship and you want to celebrate with custom t-shirts. Or perhaps you'd like matching tees and hats for your family reunions barbecue. At Lee Apparel, we offer you a full-service production facility right here in Central Alabama. From design to printing, every aspect of your order is taken care of here with real people. Find out more at leeapparel.com or call us at 888-533-6758.
With over 40 years of combined experience, SignSource is the premier sign supplier for Central Alabama. From illuminated and monument signs for your business, to banners, car wraps, or political yard signs for the individual, SignSource can do it all. We specialize in designing sign concepts that get results. Contact us today at 256-825-0197 or on the web at signsourcenow.com. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
There's no doubt that high school and college athletics rule the state of Alabama. Increase exposure for your business by spending your advertising dollars on the best sports programming in Alabama with Sports Blitz, Sportscall, and the AHSAA radio network. In a sports-hungry state like Alabama, Sports Blitz, Sportscall, and the AHSAA radio network will offer your business the best return on investment. We have packages designed to fit any budget. Call today at 256-794-8223.
Looking for the most comprehensive sports show in Alabama? Catch Sports Blitz live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Join Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, and Luke Robinson as they discuss the latest in high school, collegiate, and nationwide athletics. Tune in to FM Talk 95.9, watch live on ACN Charter Channel 80, or catch the live stream at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Sports Blitz Live, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m.
Remove the hard work and confusion from growing your business with brand management and growth through Lee Marketing Group. LMG offers logo design, web development, search engine optimization, social media management, and more. Physical and virtual marketing is an amazing tool businesses need to utilize in today's economy. Stay ahead of your competition and reach new customers. Contact us today, 888-533-6758, or visit us online at leemarketing.net to learn more.
Invoice pricing, double military rebate, and your choice of a charbroiled grill or 100 pounds of meat this weekend during Carl Gregory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram's massive Memorial Day weekend super sale. You pick the vehicle and we'll show you the factory invoice so you can see the savings. Like over $2,500 off the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee. Yours for just $21,472. Or save over $5,000 off new 2014 Avengers. Yours for just $14,990. And right now at Carl Gregory, save over $10,000 with invoice pricing on new Ram Super Duties. And when you buy any new vehicle, Carl Gregory will give you 100 pounds of meat or a new charbroil grill for your Memorial Day cookout. Get invoice pricing, double military rebate, and your choice of a charbroil grill or 100 pounds of meat during the massive Memorial Day weekend super sale. Only at your locally owned dealer. Carl Gregory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams, 2 giant locations. Victory Drive or the North Lake Auto Complex. Prices and savings after all applicable rebates. Double military rebates for all active reserves and retired duty.
Welcome back to Sports Call, presented by Always Money on this beautiful Friday afternoon here in the Deep South. This is Andy Graham here with you for the next hour and a half. Give us a call at 1-888-9-TIGER-9 or toll free at 334-887-3401. We'll pick up your calls in the next segment. But right now we're going to welcome in a very special guest, Braden Gall, writer for Athlon Sports and host of Sirius XM College Sports Nation. Hey, Braden, how you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty well. Happy Memorial Day to you guys.
Same to you. I hope you have a safe and very eventful weekend.
Yes, the most eventful I can hope for is maybe a couple of wrecks coming off turn 4 in Indianapolis. That's about the best I can do.
Well, all right. We'll see what we can do for you there. Yeah, Braden, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with Athlon, and just what all kind of hats do you wear?
Man, that's a good one there. No, I started at Athlon in 2007. My first job out of college was Rivals.com and SiriusXM, or I guess it was Sirius back then, and then I took a job at Athlon in 2007. So this will be my I think about either my 8th or my 9th football season at Athlon, and very proud of the magazine we do every year. But we do a lot of online and digital work, and that's obviously where the growth in the industry is. And so most of the stuff I do is I'm glad they don't trust me with the editing. I'm glad about that. I do a lot of writing, and then I've got people who are smarter than I am to do the editing for me. So I don't have to do too much of that, but a lot of writing, a lot of podcasts, host a radio show on Sirius and a variety of other locations as well. So a little bit of everything. It's mostly college sports, college football all the time, and we love it, and we're in the right part of the country for it. So,
well, we're going to talk about Auburn here, and that's what we got you on to talk about. Auburn Athlon coming out with their preseason and ranking Auburn at number 5. But I wanted to ask you something. I think I heard you talking about this today, about this Johnny Manziel situation and the $25 million lawsuit. Is this for real or is this fake?
No. It's a total hoax. The guy's name, I believe, is Jonathan Lee Riches, and he's apparently done this many times before. And it's a real piece of paper that's been filed in a real, county clerk's office or wherever you go to file these type of things. And it happens a lot. Apparently, I don't know what it's like to be Kim Kardashian, but apparently this kind of thing happens a lot to people with that type of celebrity. So it's completely fake and not true. But when it broke this morning, we had, we were calling the courthouse, we were calling the clerk's office, and we had confirmation that it was a real filing. We just didn't know who actually did the filing, and as it turns out, it's a guy who's been doing this before. He's been in jail for it before, and I imagine he will be returning to that location at some point in the near future. Is it unfortunate for Johnny Manziel? I guess. It's unfortunate that we live in a country where this kind of thing can happen, but you know what? We also live in a country where we have all the freedoms in the world. So it's kind of part of the business, and people who are mentally unstable, let's say, have a tendency to do this a lot, apparently, when it comes to celebrities. So it's not actually that unusual. It's just kind of, unfortunate. And Johnny Manziel, I think, will survive. I think he's going to be just fine.
Well, it is a real legitimate document. And my question is, when I thought about this is how my mind works, but I thought about this. I wonder if he had this printed out and gave it and they, just retyped it, or if he dictated this and somebody typed it for him as he sat there. And I remember, because if you haven't read this, it is not for, if you have sensible, delicate sensibilities, don't read it. Yeah. So but that is just bizarre.
No, and the spelling is horrendous. They misspelled Jadeveon Clowney's name wrong. They misspelled Johnny's name once in there as well. The corporate sponsorship that's littered in there throughout the whole process is, it's comical to be honest with you. The Samsung phone and Long John Silver's and Walt Disney. It's just really bizarre. And we kind of had the feeling that it was a hoax when we got it, but we couldn't. You can't speculate on that stuff when you're on the air. You've got to make sure that you're covering it the right way. And did we have a little fun with it this morning? Probably so, because it's tough not to laugh at those things. But it's, again, it's unfortunate. I'm sure there will be some legal recourse at some point, from Johnny Manziel's camp. So not just that, but from the young woman, I guess, who lives in Atlanta, is on TV, I guess, who's been named in the suit as the plaintiff, which obviously is completely untrue as well. So it is what it is. It's a Friday afternoon, and at some point you kind of just have to step back and chuckle at it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Athlon ranks Auburn number 5. Now, is this where the Athlon believes Auburn will finish the season, where they will begin the season, or is it just that they think they are the 5th best team coming into the 2014 season?
No, I love that question, because we have to clarify this a lot to people. It's where we project the season to end. So we don't necessarily think that if Auburn, for example, at 5, we don't think they're the 5th best team in the nation necessarily. We think they're going to end the season after the bowl games at number 5 in the nation. Just like if we were to rank Boise State, those years when Boise State was great, I don't personally necessarily believe that Boise State was a better team than Alabama, let's say, but you had to, when you look at their schedule and a potential 12-0 season, you got to try to project the rankings. Notre Dame, for example, gets ranked a little bit higher than maybe it should every year, and we kind of have to try to gauge that because we're trying to project the final standing. So when we look at Auburn, I think, to be honest with you, I think 5th is extremely generous, and I think that's if Auburn finishes 5th in the nation this year with what they've got on the defensive side of the ball, I think you have to be ecstatic at the end of the season.
So Auburn ending number 5, does that mean they do not make the college football playoff?
No, I think it's tough, and to be honest with you, I've really tried to find a scenario in which a second SEC team makes the playoff. Now, Auburn could easily defend their championship, win the SEC, and they're in the playoff. Boom, end of discussion. But we have Alabama winning the SEC West, and I don't see an elite team in Georgia or South Carolina. I think South Carolina could be pretty darn good if their defensive line comes together. But I really don't see. I think Auburn and Alabama might be the 2 best teams in the league. But I don't see Auburn going 11-1. And for them to make the playoff, I think they're going to have to be 11-1 with that only loss coming to Alabama. So I just think that if you look at what they've got on the schedule, how difficult the schedule is, I think 10-2 is about right. And if you win a bowl game, maybe it's not the Sugar Bowl, I guess, but maybe another one of the New Year's Six, and you're 11-2, I think you're probably going to finish right there in that near that top 5.
All right. Well, what do you see as Auburn's biggest strengths this season?
Well, I mean, it's tough to call the coach maybe the biggest strength, but I think the way Gus's mind works and the way his offense runs and it's the running game. I'm not worried about Trey Mason at all. I think he's a really nice player, but as a fan looking at, I was down there on the plains for the spring game and got to hang out with, the coaching staff for a couple of days, and I'm just not worried at all about the running game. I mean, the offense is going to be awesome. They're going to score 45 points a game potentially. They're going to win a lot of games, 42-35, 41-35, somewhere in there. The offensive line is going to be great even without Greg Robinson. I think the receivers are even better. So the passing game should be a little bit better this year than it was last year. So offensively, they're as good as anybody in the country because Gus Malzahn's still calling the shots. So offensively, to me, the running game is still going to be the bread and butter of everything that Auburn does, and I think they're going to be extremely successful at that.
We've got Braden Call from Athlon Sports with us, joining us here on Sports Call this afternoon. I'll go ahead and ask you this question, but I think that I know what the answer is going to be by everything that you've said. What is Auburn's biggest weaknesses?
Well, it's I don't know if it's leadership on defense. I don't know if it's overall depth. I don't know what the exact endpoint is. Because I think there's a lot of young talent on the roster, especially on the defensive line, that I think we all agree with Adams and Lawson and Daniels that we think they're all going to be really good players. So I'm not exactly sure if it's, like I said, is it veteran leadership? Is it depth with injuries potentially? I know the defense was really banged up all through the spring, and that really showed up in practice in the spring game. Now, you can't really use any of that to dictate what's going to happen, but they gave up 35 points a game last year in the last month of the season. They were 6-1 in one-score games and 2 of the luckiest plays that I've ever seen in college football history. So it's really tough. That is good. It's going to happen this year, and the schedule is so tough that I think all it takes is one loss to on the road or whatever. Whatever you got, the road schedule is really, really tough this year. Or Georgia, for example. At Alabama, South Carolina at home, whatever, it takes one slip up and you're out of the playoffs. So I just think that with the defense and with the luck last year, it's going to be very difficult to replicate that.
Well, I got a bone to pick with you here, and I listened to your podcast with Auburn, the Auburn preview, and you mentioned it twice here, and the word luck. I'm taking a little offense to that. I will grant you the miracle in Jordan-Hare against Georgia. That was an extraordinarily fortuitous play. But the fact that Auburn was up by 3 touchdowns going to the fourth quarter, I would say that Georgia was lucky to be in the game. And as far as Auburn, being fortunate against Alabama, I don't think that was luck. I think that was just having a player in the right place at the right time.
Well, I mean, that you certainly can make that case. It's also the craziest I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, Vince Young running around the right end against USC in the Rose Bowl in 2005. I mean, I don't know. You know, Ian Johnson for Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. I mean, there are just plays that are, emblazoned on your memory as just these kind of, again, not fluky, maybe not the right word, but just the most bizarre thing that you could ever see. And to suggest that over time you're going to see that same type of thing, it's not just Georgia and Alabama, which are two of the craziest plays we've ever seen. Certainly the Georgia play was downright luck almost. But when you look at Washington State, you look at Mississippi State, you look at Texas A&M, you look at Ole Miss, you look at, I mean, all the way, they weren't blowing people out all year long. So they weren't an elite team up until the end of the season. They became an elite team and then got a couple of good bounces. And listen, I acknowledge every team that's ever won a championship in any sport has probably needed a couple of good bounces to win a championship. These are two of the craziest bounces I've ever seen on back-to-back games against the two of the best teams in the country. It will not happen again. So you can call it whatever you want. It's not going to happen again like that. You're going to have to beat Alabama straight up on the road this year. You can't bank on a 110-yard field goal return because it's not going to happen ever again.
If that happens again, I want you on this show the next day.
Nope. I got no problem. I'll do the whole show for free for you. No problem at all.
All right. Well, Braden Gall, writer for Athlon Sports, host of SiriusXM College Sports Nation. We can't thank you enough for being a part of the program today.
No, absolutely, guys. That's fun. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. We're going to be right back after this break. We'll continue with more on this Friday edition of Sports Call.
Stop by your local TK's convenience store where Resource Natural Spring Water 700 milliliter bottles are buy one, get one free. Resource is a 100% natural spring water with naturally occurring electrolytes for taste. It's good for you and mindful of the environment thanks to a bottle made with 50% recycled plastic. So visit your local TK's convenience store to refresh, revitalize, and replenish with a special buy one, get one free offer on Resource Spring Water. Offer valid 5/1 through 6/30/2014. Excludes label and cap. Recycling facilities may not be available in your area.
Listen up, ladies. You don't have to spend a fortune to look like $1 million when you work out at Tiger Iron Gym. No matter what your fitness needs, Tiger Iron Gym has you covered with ellipticals, treadmills, and arc trainers for cardio workouts and free weights and power racks to build and tone muscle. Looking for a high-energy group workout? Try a Zumba or cross-train class. Right now, women can join for only $5 through May 31st. Tiger Iron Gym, 24/7, 365, next to the Big Blue Bookstore on South College. Remember, no matter how slow you go, you're still lapping everyone on the couch.
TK's convenience stores are prepared to help you on your dash home. Whether you need to grab a gallon of milk, bread, drinks, or some cash from the ATM, TK's is there for you. At TK's convenience stores, we work hard to carry those items that you need to grab quickly, and we pride ourselves on high-quality gasoline and clean stores. So don't stress about your evening. Slow down and stop at one of TK's 14 locations to grab what you need. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
It's the Big Blue Bookstore's Memorial Day blowout.
Stock up on summer essentials with these great discounts.
40% off all rainbow flip-flops, 30% off bed and bath accessories, and every t-shirt in the store is 25% off now through Monday.
Whether you're shopping for Auburn fan gear, gifts, or textbooks, the Big Blue Bookstore's got you covered. Locally owned, Big Blue believes in Auburn and loves it just like you do. Don't miss this great Memorial Day sale through Monday. The Big Blue Bookstore, Tiger Crossing Shopping Center on South College.
In today's competitive environment, time is money. Allegra Printing in Auburn has the fastest turnaround. With their state-of-the-art, all-digital printing equipment, Allegra delivers with speed, precision, and quality every time. And their outside sales reps will help you from start to finish, so you don't even have to leave your office. From simple to sophisticated, turn to Allegra, East Alabama's go-to print company for more than 25 years. Visit them in Auburn at 1625 East University Drive, or call 887-3180. Allegra Printing. Quality service, expert solutions, professional results.
Hi,
Hi, this is Melinda from Life South. Did you know that Life South is your community blood center? Did you know that when you donate with Life South, your donation stays right here at home? Every 2 to 3 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. You can make a difference this year and do something amazing. You could save the life of a friend, a family member, or even a coworker. To find out more about how you can host a blood drive or donate with Life South, visit our website, www.lifesouth.org. Do something amazing. Donate with Life South Community Blood Centers today.
Hello, I'm Sandy Toomer, a Republican candidate for the House of Representatives. I'm a lifelong conservative and a lifelong Republican. I believe in limited government, low taxation, and conservative social principles. I'm 100% pro-life. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. I've never even voted for a Democrat or I served 14 years as a Christian missionary, spending time as a pilot in South America, supplying medical supplies and food to communities in need. I'm a small businessman, founding Toomer's Coffee right here in Auburn. Anything you may have heard about me that conflicts with my 100% conservative principles and credentials is a flat-out lie, and my opponent knows it. His attempts to discredit me by accusing me of supporting Obama or any liberal cause are absurdly ridiculous. Once again, my opponent knows these are lies. I'm Sandy Toomer. I'm a 100% conservative Republican. I'll always tell you the truth, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on June 3rd.
Paid for by the committee to elect Sandy Toomer, Auburn, Alabama.
Welcome back to Sports Call, presented by Always Money on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Memorial Day weekend. It just doesn't really get any better than this. And who among us, Randy, has not needed money from time to time?
I have needed a lot of it from time to time, especially when I was a student at Auburn University. And if my father is riding around, he would have liked for me to have gone to somebody other than him for that money a lot of the time. But great interview there. I was listening to Braden Gall today. He took over for Tim Brando, and he was the one that broke the news on the Johnny Manziel. I don't know if we want to dip into it, but did he give any insight with that?
He said it's a hoax. He said the guy has done this before. It is a legitimate document filed in a court, in a courthouse somewhere. That's why they initially thought that it was real, because it is legitimately a document. And if you've read this thing, and like I said, don't go read it if you have delicate sensibilities. But I mean, when I first read it, the first thing that came to my mind was, this is, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. This is a girl that Johnny Manziel had a relationship with and then spurned, and now she's just doing this because it basically just takes a shot at him in every possible way, and to demean him and to make fun of him and to just do just the worst things that you can imagine. But as far as a man would be concerned.
Well, let's move back over and the topic that he discussed, and I'd like to get your spin on it now that Braden said it. And he thought 10-2 would be a good mark for Auburn this upcoming year. Tough road loss that he's expecting as Auburn travels over to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. Alabama towards the end of the season, if there are any issues with the quarterback play, they'd have them ironed out by that point. But your thoughts on what Braden said there, 10-2 mark for Auburn?
I think 10 wins is always a good mark for a football team, but obviously they have a lot more faith in Alabama than I do. I think Alabama is going to be good, but I wrote a column Wednesday and made 10 predictions about the college football season, and I said Alabama would lose 2 regular season games for the first time since 2010. I'm buying into the fact that the enormous question marks at quarterback, I think that far outweigh any kind of question marks about Auburn's defense. That seemed to be the biggest thing that Braden was concerned about. He does not have any confidence really that Auburn's defense is going to make any progress this season, apparently. Now, Auburn does have a very difficult schedule. They have to go on the road to play Georgia and Alabama back-to-back. They go to Ole Miss. They go to Mississippi State. And I think a big reason people look back just from the outside looking in, that don't really see Auburn daily or deal with them. They look back and they say, well, they struggled against Washington State. They needed a last-second touchdown pass, last-second, 80-yard drive to beat Mississippi State. Yeah, in the first 2 games of the year, they were a totally different team from game 1 to game 13, 14. So I don't think Auburn's going to regress and start all over again because it's mostly the same people. I think Auburn's going to pick up where they left off, and that's why I think Auburn is a legitimate contender for the college football playoff. I really do.
Our question of the day that we brought up, and we kind of carried it over from yesterday, was the Florida series. What's a game or what's a moment out there that you remember most vividly about Auburn and Florida series over the years? A lot of games been played, 43, 38, and 2 is the overall mark in this series, Auburn leading that. We've got a lot of tweets that have come through on this subject, and we appreciate all of you out there. Tiger Tackle sent in over, I agree 100% with Shadow. And what did Shadow say? We've had a couple of tweets on, what did Shadow say? Well, Shadow said that he wished Auburn would take the path of getting rid of some of the tougher opponents that they have in the SEC, i.e. Georgia, maybe Alabama.
We did with Florida by just happenstance, but it happened.
But his opinion is a weaker schedule, and you run through and you win all your games, you're going to have an opportunity to win a national title. Did I say that about the way Shadow said it?
I think so. He said, why don't we have a rivalry with Vanderbilt of Kentucky? Well, we're 0-2 against Vandy our last 2 games. We're 1-1 against Kentucky. So I guess we do have a rivalry with those 2 teams. I'm looking forward. My Lord, I wish we had Vandy every year because the humiliation that I feel because we lost 2 games in a row to Vanderbilt. I just want to beat their brains in, every time I see them now. So I want to get them back on the schedule as quick as possible.
But, we appreciate all of the comments out there. A lot of you that agree with Shadow and would like to see us get rid of some of these tougher opponents and take on some of the easier ones here in the SEC and to run through. Shadow made a very good point. Alabama's strength of schedule is the worst in the SEC, but you see Nick Saban out front of this subject every day, like he is out front of every subject when it comes to the SEC, and for good reason when they've won as many national titles they've had. Look, I'm an Auburn fan, but I will give him that. But Shadow had a good point. We had a couple of great ones. TNG Street sent over, and he kind of agreed with you. First off, he said Calvin Jackson's 96-yard interception return, and 93 is one that jumps out to him, but also Shane Wasden's last-minute touchdown catch in 89. You can't go wrong with any of these. If you remember any back in the earlier part of the 80s, 70s, 60s, or even before then, please call in 888-9-TIGER-9.
This segment has been brought to you by Resource Natural Spring Water. Resource is 100% natural spring water with naturally occurring electrolytes that support a lifestyle of well-being. When you're needing to refresh, revitalize, and replenish, it's always Resource Natural Spring Water. We'll be back after the Fox Sports Report right after this.
Looking for one of the best ways to market your business effectively? Advertise with R&B Media through Sports Blitz, Sportscall, and the AHSA radio network. High school and college athletics are king in Alabama, and consumer media that center around this subject are steadily on the rise. Get the best of both worlds, radio and TV sports talk throughout the state of Alabama. To learn more, contact us today at 256-794-8223.
Before the big game on Saturday, tune in to Saturday Sports Countdown on FM Talk 95.9 from 10 a.m. to noon. Luke Robinson, Randy Lee, and Brett Pritchard break down the day's biggest games and keep you up to date on the latest from the sports world. Call the guys at 256-234-6464 and watch live at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Saturday Sports Countdown, 10 a.m. to noon on FM Talk 95.9.
It's always something. The car needs a new tire, tuition is due. It's down to the wire. Cheerleading outfit, soccer shoes, football pads, or annual dues. Nellie's in band. She needs a trombone. Good golly Molly, you need a loan. Jimmy broke his arm. He needs a cast. You need money, and you need it fast. When life comes at you, Always Money can help you through. It's easy, convenient, friendly, and fast. You'll get the cash you need the day you need it. So stop by or visit alwaysmoney.com. How much can we loan you today? Borrowers often use payday loans over a period of months, which can be expensive.
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types: screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn-Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6755.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 93.9, WTGZ, Union Springs, Montgomery, and Auburn, and AM 620 WTRP, LaGrange.
Fox Sports trending now.
Live from Los Angeles, I'm Tom
Sometimes in life, you will fail.
Slaving over a hot microphone, Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice spoke today publicly, finally.
And there was a lot of tears shed, but me and Janae can truly say that, we're in a better place. We just hopefully all one day to gain back everyone's trust.
It was the first time he spoke publicly since beating up his girlfriend at a casino a couple of months ago, allegedly.
I'm still the same person. I failed miserably, but I wouldn't call myself a failure because I'm working my way back up.
That girlfriend is now his wife. Donald Sterling's girlfriend got in a load of trouble, and now Donald Sterling's wife is going to bail him out. Sterling has surrendered control of the LA Clippers to his wife, and Shelley will now work with the NBA on selling the team. And I am loaded.
We are Fox Sports.
All right, guys, bring it in. Listen up. I want to talk about last night. Yes, sir. Maybe you had your friends over, huh? Cracked open some icy cold Budweisers, and maybe, just maybe, you had yourselves the night of your life. Well, yesterday's over, boys, but tonight is just beginning. You got a bunch of bonus buds sitting pretty in your fridge. I want you to crack them open, and I want you to mass text all your friends and round them all up again for round 2. I don't want to hear. I do not want to hear. But we're tired from yesterday, Coach. Or the cleaning lady just left. That's what the fool who missed it would say. Gentlemen, listen to me. You need to go out there and live, and you need to do it tonight. Carpe diem, boys. And while you're at it, carpe nightem too. Great times await. Grab some buds.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Go with Graceland Portable Buildings for storage facilities and the highest quality hunting and fishing cabins you'll ever see. Graceland blows away the competition with the finest building materials, top quality lumber, and secure metal roofs. And Graceland is so sure that their buildings will move only when you want them to that they offer the strongest warranties in the business. Buy outright or lease to own, there is no credit check required. And Graceland will deliver and set up your new building for free. Look for the G and visit Graceland Portable Buildings on South College in Auburn, or go to GracelandPortableBuildings.com.
I'm so tired of eating pizza.
You want a real meal? Just like Mama's home cooking. Then dine in, carry out, or have veggies to go on South College cater your next meal. You can eat food just like Mom's, 7 days a week, and have something different every day. Pork chops, country fried steak and gravy, meatloaf, and more. Served with all kinds of fresh veggies and casseroles. And don't miss out on Miss Jeannie's homemade desserts. So when you're craving the comfort from home, it's always veggies to go on South College in Auburn.
Hello, I'm Sandy Toomer, a Republican candidate for the House of Representatives. I'm a lifelong conservative and a lifelong Republican. I believe in limited government, low taxation, and conservative social principles. I'm 100% pro-life. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. I've never even voted for a Democrat or supported liberal interest in any way. I served 14 years as a Christian missionary, spending time as a pilot in South America, flying medical supplies and food to communities in need. I'm a small businessman, founding Toomer's Coffee right here in Auburn. Anything you may have heard about me that conflicts with my 100% conservative principles and credentials is a flat-out lie, and my opponent knows it. His attempts to discredit me by accusing me of supporting Obama or any liberal cause are absurdly ridiculous. Once again, my opponent knows these are lies. I'm Sandy Toomer. I'm a 100% conservative Republican. I'll always tell you the truth, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on June 3rd.
Paid for by the committee to elect Sandy Toomer, Auburn, Alabama.
You better buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a show to watch.
From Tiger Communications.
Jackson, touchdown.
For 20 years, East Alabama's sports talk leader.
Swing and drive. Goes to right.
Sportscall.
Oh, what a dunk.
Call in now at 887-3401 locally. Or 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free.
Struck him out.
And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Sports Call.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Sports Call, presented by Always Money on this beautiful Friday afternoon, this glorious Memorial Day weekend. Hope everyone has a safe and wonderful time out there doing whatever it is you're doing. Everyone loves to get together with family, grill out, whatever it might be. We got a Lake Martin here in this area. A lot of people get out on boats and enjoy themselves. Hope everyone will be safe. Randy Lee here, and my name is Andy Graham. We'll be with you up until 6 o'clock, taking your calls. Give us a call, 1-888-9-TIGER-9, or locally 334-887-3401. Our question of the day is, what's your favorite Auburn, Florida memory? Or who would you like to see Auburn play more that we have lost that rivalry? Is it Tennessee? Is it Florida? Is it somebody else? Is there a special away stadium that you like to visit? Give us a call and let us know what's on your mind.
Shadow said he'd rather see us play Kentucky or Vandy because we got a better chance of winning. And we've had several come through with tweets and say that they would like to see the same because no matter how tough the schedule is, you've got to get through unblemished or one loss at the most for a chance to get in this 4-team playoff. So, again, we'd love to hear from you, 888-9-TIGER-9. Let's go back to the phone line. Scott in Ellick City, you're on Sports Call.
Good evening, guys. How you doing?
Good, Scott. How are you?
Doing good. I was listening to some of the talk about the favorite Florida memories, and mine most definitely would have to be 2007. I was there for 2006 where the punt was blocked, and they ended up scoring that. Outside of these past two games with Alabama and Georgia, that's clearly the loudest the stadium has ever been. But 2007 where West Brom hits 2 field goals and ends up doing the Gator Chomp, I thought that was an awesome thing for them. That's probably my favorite Florida memory. But thinking along the lines of what Shadow was saying, I kind of think you go against that grain now because I think it's getting to the point now where if you're going to have a committee, I think they can determine that a 2-loss SEC team outweighs somebody who's 12. I think now this is where a human, like actually watching it, seeing it with your own eyes, will determine what somebody should be doing. So I think it's clear to say that a 2-team or 2-loss SEC team would be better than, say, Boise State, even no matter what happens. So I think you want those harder games in there to make sure that your strength of schedule make sure that you're in the conversation of that top 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It seems like strength of schedule is going to be a big issue with the new college football playoff committee. And if that is the case, the Pac-12 was already complaining that the SEC is having an 8-game schedule. They play a 9-game schedule. I would assume probably maybe a few years down the road it's going to be uniform that everybody's probably going to end up playing a 9-game schedule. It'll be interesting to see how that changes, the SEC, and if it does indeed change. And will they go 2 permanent East or 1 permanent and 2 rotators? How will that work? I'm not sure, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes down the road. You mentioned the 2007 Florida game. That when I think back on when I believe Auburn had lost to South Florida in overtime earlier that year, I had absolutely no hope to win that game, and Auburn came in and played inspired. Brandon Cox, I think, played the best game that he had played up to that point, and really
that was a Tuberville game, I think.
It was. It really was.
Types of game. Yeah, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I had one more comment. I heard earlier in the show you spoke about Mark Cuban, and I just wanted to weigh in a little bit on that. I think I may have a different opinion of maybe some other people that have had opportunity to speak on it. But after listening to what he had to say, I don't think he said anything that was, racially motivated or insensitive. He had to come out and make an apology. He didn't have to. He chose to make an apology regarding his comments about the hoodie situation and how that reflected upon Trayvon Martin's family. So he apologized to the family. But in all honesty, I think he did something that a lot of people don't do, and he allowed this to happen for us to have a conversation about what's really going on, and that the fact that there are people who have thoughts, and that's just human nature, that if you see somebody that maybe is intimidating to you, whether they're black or white or whatever it is, then you're going to make sure that you're out of harm's way. But there's been a lot of national talk about it today on what the black community itself could do to maybe aid in this situation. And in my observations of it, it looks like a lot of this could be, they were looking for a scapegoat. And again, this kind of steamrolls from the situation with Donald Sterling, but I don't think the two equate, because what Mark Cuban was, I think, essentially saying is that, everyone lives in a glass house, so don't throw a rock. So whether you're black or white, I think everyone has prejudices, and I don't think he necessarily said anything that was out of the ordinary. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, and I'm enjoying the show, and you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks for the phone call, Scott, and we were going to bring that topic up in our quick hitter segment here, and Scott led us directly into it. Mark Cuban does have some comments that he comes out with. They've been taken, I think, 50-50 down the middle, how the national media has projected what he said. And, Andy, I'll kick it over to you, get your thoughts to begin with.
I don't think he said anything wrong. I think he's trying to be honest, and it kind of goes back to this beginning when he said, when this all first came out with Donald Sterling, and he talked about them taking the franchise away from him and how that was a slippery slope. And now, I guess upon reflection, he's sitting there saying, well, am I a hypocrite for voting him out because he, said these things when I, have some, biases of myself. And look, we all, and he's exactly right. And if everybody admits it, it's the truth. We all have these kind of prejudices and biases. I'll say, and I'll admit to mine. If I see somebody, and I'm sitting in a restaurant, and I see somebody walk in and their pants are around their, knees, it evokes something in me, and I have a negative reaction to it. I don't know that person, but by what they wear and how they look, I have a prejudice about that. Is that my problem? Is that I would imagine a lot of people feel that way. When you see somebody like he said, all tattooed up, it brings to mind a certain, you either react to it one way or the other, but a lot of people are going to react to it negatively. So, yes, we all have these things, and I guess the more we talk about it, the more we deal with it. It's the only way that we can ever move past it.
I think that's the best part of this whole discussion. And Donald Sterling, another one of our topics here today, and I never thought we would reach the point where Donald Sterling would be willing to give this team up, but he did come out today, and he says that he's willing to turn it over to his wife and have his wife negotiate the deal to sell the team. Did you see? I did not see this 2 weeks ago.
Totally shocked. I didn't see this yesterday. His lawyers came out with this statement about a week ago. I don't know. Something obviously happened. Maybe, at heart, at the end of the day, he's a businessman. He's a billionaire for a reason. And maybe he understands, look, the best way for me to get my valued money is because you look at all these people that have come out wanting to buy the franchise now. It's going to turn into a bidding war. And he could probably sell the team for they say it might be worth $1 billion. Who knows? That's what the Dodgers sold for, I think. He's going to make money off this. Maybe that's finally, in the end, he knows, look, I'm 80 years old. I'm not going to be around that much longer anyway. I'll sell the team, make a bundle, and go about my merry way.
888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Again, our question of the day, brought to you by Lee Marketing Group, is Florida and Auburn don't look to play but a couple of times over the next 10 years. 2025, is that the next trip that we'll have down to Gainesville?
I think so.
We personally don't like it. Some out there do, because it takes one of our tougher opponents off the schedule each year, which...
Of course, lately, Florida's not that tough an opponent.
How many times do you think Florida would like to have had Auburn off their schedule over the last 20 years, as many times as Auburn has bit them when they've been way ahead? A couple of those wins when they, I think I heard a number a little bit earlier, in 93, Florida was coming off a 58-0 thrashing of LSU. Am I right? Is that the right number?
I think so.
And Auburn beats them 35-33 at home. That's the reason there was no expectation of that win there. But is there teams out there that you would rather see Auburn play more often? But going to the 14-team schedule, this is what you're going to get with the SEC now, Andy.
Yeah, that's true. It is what it is. We're all going to have to deal with it. It's a brave new world. And to be honest with you, it's only going to get worse. I just have to believe that we're going to see a 16 to 18 team conference before this decade is out. I just I see it headed that way. This 4-team playoff would be it would work itself. You have the 4 major conferences, these giant mega conferences, and the winner of the conferences go to the playoff. You have the 4 conference winners take it, play for it all. So I believe it's kind of headed that way, in my opinion. So you might as well, if you don't like change, you're probably not going to like what's coming.
A topic that I think that possibly will be on, and I'd like to get your feel out there, World Cup will be kicking off, or however you bring that up, in the next couple of weeks. Our very own Justin Clayton in here, our producer, will be heading down to Brazil for 2 weeks as he comes back with his malaria pills this afternoon to the office, and he's getting prepared for his Brazil trip. But I guess we'll talk about it in the next segment. But is there any interest out there in Soccer 1, but I'm talking about on the mainstream, is there interest in World Cup or Olympic soccer, or is it just that interest and we do get behind those teams a little bit like we do the hockey when it's our teams out there playing? We'd love to hear from you, Andy.
Absolutely. We got to get to our next break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on the Friday edition of Sports Call.
When you're looking for the best chicken fingers and wings in town, nothing else will hit the spot better than JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has everything you need to curb a big appetite, and they have all-you-can-eat chicken fingers on Monday night and all-you-can-eat wings on Tuesday night. Any child wearing their City League uniform eats for $1.99 on the kids' menu. Check out our Facebook page daily for our dine-in special. Visit us at 145 Alabama Street in Alex City.
It's political season. Get the most exposure for your campaign through Lee Marketing Group. Yard signs, banners, decals, door hangers, postcards, business cards, video production, advertising, and more. Custom, professional, and engaging. Everything you need in one place. Contact us today, 888-533-6758. www.leemarketing.net. LMG, success by design.
S&S Discount Tire on Cherokee Road in Alex City is the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealership and a place for everything mechanical. Weary and the S&S Tire crew are ready to serve you with double the capacity from routine oil changes to full engine overhauls and all transmission work. S&S Tire can handle it all. That's S&S Tire on Cherokee Road. Call David or Weary today at 256-215-8822. Visit S&S Discount Tire at 224 East South Street in Dadeville, now in 2 locations.
Videos have always been the best way to teach, amaze, and amuse people. With the advent of YouTube, companies big and small are producing videos that sell, promote, and increase conversion rates. Videos engage your customers, meaning more visibility, more customers, and revenue for your business. How do you get your video to stand out amongst all those customers and garner the most attention? R&B Media Video Production. Find out more at www.rnbmedia.com.
Friday, July 25th at Strand Park in Alexander City, Alabama. It's Sun Festival, Alexander City's band battle. The area's best bands compete for a $1,000 grand prize, and the winning band opens for Diamond Rio on Saturday, July 26th at Sun Festival, Alexander City. If your band wants to be the next big thing, contact the Alexander City Chamber of Commerce through their website at alexandercitychamber.com or call 256-234-3461 or look up Sun Festival Alexander City on Facebook. Band battle. Registration absolutely ends June 13th. This is your band's chance to be a part of Sun Festival Alexander City with a $1,000 grand prize and opening for Diamond Rio Saturday, July 26th. Band battle at Strand Park in downtown Alexander City. All bands must register by June 13th and space is limited, so register now at alexandercitychamber.com or call 256-234-3461. Sponsored by Singleton Marine Crew, part of Sun Festival Alexander City.
Looking for the most comprehensive sports show in Alabama? Catch Sports Blitz live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Join Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, and Luke Robinson as they discuss the latest in high school, collegiate, and nationwide athletics. Tune in to FM Talk 95.9, watch live on ACN Charter Channel 80, or catch the live stream at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Sports Blitz Live, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization. Wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat. Full-color banners for your big sale, or photo collage on canvas for grandma. All with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com. 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
Welcome back to Sports Call on this beautiful Friday afternoon, presented by Always Money. My name is Andy Graham, alongside my partner, Randy Lee. We'll be with you for the next 40 minutes, taking your calls and talking about whatever you'd like to talk about. This segment brought to you by Carl Gregory, factory invoice pricing, double military rebate, and your choice of a charbroil grill or 100 pounds of meat. This weekend during Carl Gregory's massive Memorial Day weekend super sale, only at your locally owned dealer. Carl Gregory, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, 2 giant locations, Victory Drive or the North Lake Auto Complex in Columbus.
Let's go back to the phone line. Spencer in Montgomery, you're on Sports Call.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How about you, Spencer?
Good. Real quick on the Florida situation, our in-conference schedule, I mean, because we are in the SEC, that's never going to be, easy for really anybody. The out-of-conference schedule, we can certainly make points and debate points back and forth on, is it strong enough, is it not, are we trying to kill ourselves? That's debatable. But I think the genesis behind, or at least the benefit rather to Auburn, the schedule the way it is, it did allow us to keep Georgia permanently, correct?
It did.
Yeah, so I think that's, if you make, you lose some more attractive, East Division games, and that's my take on that. On the soccer part, no, I don't have really any real interest in that World Cup or soccer in general, and I'll tell you why. Soccer at a high level has 2 things that appeal to folks around here. It's got great athleticism, and it can have good in-game drama, okay? What's killing it is the fact that you've got the official time is being kept by a guy on a field who can add time to or take time from the game clock. There is no game clock. Could you imagine if football was played that way? If Nick Saban said, okay, we're done, we're going to overtime. Really?
It is an odd setup, and I've always thought that is odd, and I would like to know the exact second, and I think the teams personally, but I guess it's been done that way for so long, and it's a traditional sport, and they don't want to change it.
Well, it's been traditionally wrong for the entire time. It's been done that way.
I agree with you, Spencer. I've always wondered, if they say 3 minutes, give me 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I know I got to get a shot at the goal between that time period.
Exactly.
Hey, Spencer,
anyway,
what?
Y'all have a great time.
Hey, Spencer, what's your favorite Auburn, Florida memory? I think he's gone.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be asking that question as you call in, 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. The one I mentioned was the 94 Nix to Sanders pass. You went with Wasden's touchdown in 89 as you were at that game. A couple of others that have been brought up, the 93 game, Calvin Jackson's 96-yard interception return, and then just the miraculous day that 93 was with that win 35-33. 87 has been brought up also because Auburn's defense stymied Emmitt Smith, and it was the first time that he had been held under 100 yards that I remember at that time, and only had 50-something, and Auburn beats them. So a great phone call so far, 334-887-3401. Andy, as we move into the second hour of the program, when you're looking down the SEC baseball tourney, it seems to be the same names the last 4 or 5 every year. Am I wrong here? I mean, you may see some different names up at the top of the league during the regular season, but for whatever reason, your LSU's and Mississippi States and Ole Misses seem to always be in the mix.
Yeah, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago about the scholarship, the way it works. You have these extra scholarships, and you look at the SEC tournament, you see, you look at the West, and Mississippi State and Ole Miss are leading the West. So the SEC tournament, Tennessee is out, A&M is out, Alabama is out, Georgia is out, Vanderbilt is out, South Carolina is out. Arkansas has come back from a 6-0 score. It has now tied the game 6-all in the first game of today's play. Florida and Mississippi State will also play. LSU is the only undefeated team right now, and watching them play Auburn the last weekend series of the year, I am not surprised at all. They look like they have their left side of the infield looks like it's straight out of the major leagues, and they hit the ball hard every time.
Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Spencer back up. Spencer, what's your favorite Auburn and Florida memory?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just thanks for asking the question. In 1983, I was 15 years old. Came over to the game, just trying to scalp a ticket with my dad, and I heard a guy say $12, and that was face value back then. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting all over this. So I run, I buy the ticket, I go to the gate, and the guy asks for my student ID. And at 15, you're not really in college age yet.
Yeah.
So, I bought a student ticket. So I went to the top center back when you could do that, and they didn't have an upper deck on the east side. So I could actually see about 20 yards of the field. So when Bo Jackson carries out around the left side and runs for 80 yards, I could see the crowd pop up and the wave of sound hit me a little bit after that. I heard, Carl Stevens, say what happened. And oddly enough, it was crappy not actually getting to see the game, but that was my most memorable Auburn, Florida moment.
Yeah, that game is known for just an unbelievable number of guys that went on to play in the NFL. Wilbur Marshall, how many?
51.
51. Unbelievable. Just the talent that was on the field that day.
Yeah, 26 for Florida, and we had 25.
Wow. Well, we appreciate the call, Spencer.
What a stat. 51 players in that game moving on to play in the NFL, and that's the reason so many are upset that this series is not going to be played as often. And Gainesville's a fun place to go. I remember going so many times in the 90s and 2000s, had good friends down there and go down and visit. And that's, again, the reason that a lot of us enjoy the away games, because you have reasons to go and visit these areas that otherwise you may not. So 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401.
Yeah, and another thing, Florida is always going to be talented. I don't think they won their first SEC title until Steve Spurrier became head coach. So they have not traditionally been a great team. I think it was Bear Bryant that said if they ever figure out, what they've got down there, they're going to be a problem for everybody else in the SEC. And when Steve Spurrier came along, it became a problem for everybody else in the SEC. And it's really been that way since. That's the thing. Florida might not be great. Auburn might not be great, but those two teams are always going to be really talented. And, there are some, odd years here and there, but even the Ron Zook years, ultra talented.
Got a couple of more minutes left on this segment. Florida, you feel like they're going to make a swing back in that direction that they had 2 years ago, or are we going to see what I'm telling you, I am on the fence on Florida. I don't know where to go. I was a big Muschamp supporter when they hired him. I pointed to 2 years ago. I told you, Florida is going to be great with Muschamp because he can recruit and he can play defense, and they got the athletes down there, so they'll always have a tremendous offense. And, boy, I've stuck my foot directly in my mouth with that statement. So what do you think, Andy?
I'm on the record as saying that Florida will win 8 games this year, and that's with a bowl game. I said that Will Muschamp will do exactly the bare minimum to keep his job.
Will he hold on with 8 wins?
I think maybe because they won 4 last year, they double their win total. But I just don't know where the offense comes from. They have not been able to find a quarterback. Their offense has been horrid over the last couple of years. So they've had good defenses, and I think obviously that's Will Muschamp's specialty. But if they can't find any semblance of an offense, that offense they brought into Jordan Hare in 2009 was bad. So it just I don't know. I'm not a believer. I was like you. I thought Will Muschamp was a great hire. I wanted him at Auburn, but it has not worked out well, and he just does not seem to, work. He can't put it all together. It seems like for that 1 year's, only. We got to get up to our next break, but we're going to be right back. Please stay with us. There's more to come on the Friday edition of the Sports Call.
Hi, I'm Pat Dye. I'd like to tell you why I've been a Ware Jewelers customer for more than 30 years. I like the people, I like the jewelry, and I like the prices. Ware Jewelers has been perfecting what they do since 1946. Their quality is great. They treat each and every customer like a close friend. This is Coach Dye, and in football, I like the Tigers. In jewelry, my choice is Ware Jewelers. Ware Jewelers, Auburn, Opelika, Montgomery, and Spanish Fort.
Stop by your local TK's convenience store where Resource Natural Spring Water 700 milliliter bottles are buy one, get one free. Resource is a 100% natural spring water with naturally occurring electrolytes for taste. It's good for you and mindful of the environment thanks to a bottle made with 50% recycled plastic. So visit your local TK's convenience store to refresh, revitalize, and replenish with a special buy one, get one free offer on Resource Spring Water. Offer valid 5/1 through 6/30/2014. Excludes label and cap. Recycling facilities may not be available in your area.
It's the Big Blue Bookstore's Memorial Day blowout. Stock up on summer essentials with these great discounts. 40% off all rainbow flip-flops, 30% off bed and bath accessories, and every t-shirt in the store is 25% off now through Monday. Whether you're shopping for Auburn fan gear, gifts, or textbooks, the Big Blue Bookstore's got you covered. Locally owned, Big Blue believes in Auburn and loves it just like you do. Don't miss this great Memorial Day sale through Monday. The Big Blue Bookstore, Tiger Crossing Shopping Center on South College.
TK's convenience stores are your gotta-have headquarters. You know, those things you just gotta have but don't have time to waste in one of those huge pack stores. Nope. At TK's, we have your gotta-have items with no hassle, along with great customer service, high-quality items, and clean stores. So whether you need a six-pack of your favorite beverage, milk, gasoline, or some cash from the ATM, TK's has it just minutes from you. TK's convenience stores, now with 14 locations to better serve you, always there when you need us.
There's nothing like the signature honey glazed spiral sliced ham from Honey Baked. Hey, this is Crystal. From catering corporate meetings to providing box lunches for your next event, Honey Baked Ham is just what you're looking for, including full meals with sides and desserts. Don't forget to stop by our deli for lunch or dinner, open 10 to 7, Monday through Saturday. You don't have to wait for the holidays. Plan your Honey Baked feast today. Give us a call at 741-8411, stop by and see us on Gateway Drive in Opelika, or order online at myhoneybakestore.com. Honey Baked Ham, perfect every time. We guarantee it.
In today's competitive environment, time is money. Allegra Printing in Auburn has the fastest turnaround. With their state-of-the-art, all-digital printing equipment, Allegra delivers with speed, precision, and quality every time. And their outside sales reps will help you from start to finish, so you don't even have to leave your office. From simple to sophisticated, turn to Allegra, East Alabama's go-to print company for more than 25 years. Visit them in Auburn at 1625 East University Drive, or call 887-3180. Allegra Printing. Quality service, expert solutions, professional results.
Auburn Links is proud to honor the people who keep us safe, the men and women of the military, and the police, fire, and EMTs of Lee County. To show their thanks, Auburn Links is offering you special discounts. Just show your ID, and you'll get 18 holes of the best golf around for just $25 anytime. That's right, members of the military, along with police, fire, and EMTs of Lee County, 18 holes for just $25. Auburn Links wants to thank you for what you do with a great round of golf. Auburn Links off exit 51. Call 887-5151.
Remember Auburn's underground music scene? Hundreds of sweaty weirdos packed into living rooms listening to bands like the Quadrajets, Auburn Bikini, and The Close. You don't need a time machine to see it all again. Saturday, May 31st at the War Eagle Supper Club. Catch old favorites and their new bands, all for a great cause. Bands include Kings of the F&C, Nostradamus, J.R. Collins, In Snow, and Kill Baby Kill. Doors open at 5. Suggested $10 donation goes to the Chris Bean Memorial Scholarship Fund, supporting science, travel, and space exploration adventures for future scientists and engineers.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Friday edition of Sports Call, brought to you by Always Money. My name is Andy Gray. I'm here with you for 30 more minutes, taking your calls and talking about whatever you'd like to in the world of sports. Give us a call, 1-888-9-TIGER-9, or toll-free, that is toll-free, or locally at 334-887-3401. We're going to take your calls in the next segment, but right now we're going to welcome in a very special guest, easy for me to say, Justin Ferguson, managing editor of the Auburn Plainsman and lead writer for Auburn at the Bleacher Report. Hey, Justin, how you doing today?
Doing well. How are y'all?
I'm doing pretty good. First of all, just tell us a little about yourself. How long have you been with the Plainsman? How long have you been submitting articles for the Bleacher Report?
Well, I started as I'm a senior at Auburn. Just got done with my first week of classes as a senior, and in journalism. And a couple of years ago, started writing for the Plainsman on a volunteer basis, doing some sports like volleyball, women's basketball, and ended up working my way up assistant sports editor during last fall. During the season, got to go to SEC championship game. Got to go and was sports editor this past semester, and then got through a couple of people I knew, got in touch with Bleacher Report, and I think I'm in my third month, I think, of writing for Bleacher Report, so that's kind of a new gig for me. But yeah, and then just picked up managing editor at the beginning of this summer.
Well, that sounds great. Being a student at Auburn right now is a very, very interesting time to be there. Can you give us a sense on campus about the excitement about the upcoming football season, the Bruce Pearl hire? I would imagine it's a pretty fun time.
It's really exciting just to see just the level of interest. The football team, you talk about from 2012 to 2013, it's just a complete 180. People are really excited about Malzahn and what he was able to do with the Tigers last year, and even more so, you see that after the 2010 season, you had Cam Newton and Nick Bailey lead you to the national championship, but there's more of a sense that this can continue when you see what Malzahn's done with recruiting, and what Auburn has coming back this year, and guys like Nick Marshall and most of the defense, and the Bruce Pearl hire just added on to it. A lot of students really want Auburn to be good at men's basketball again, and it usually gets overlooked at Auburn, but the Pearl hire, I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable that first press conference being there and the students. So everyone's excited. It should be a very interesting fall. A lot of excitement as a student.
Yeah, definitely. I was at the Texas A&M game in 2012, and when I left at halftime, it felt like I was leaving a funeral home. And I was there in 2013 at the Georgia and Alabama game, and it felt like I was leaving a 4th of July picnic. It like you said, it is unbelievable, the turnaround that Gus Malzahn has made. Well, let's talk about this 2015 recruiting. Auburn has 14 commitments right now. That, to me, that seems like a large number earlier than I can remember. What do you attribute that to?
I think Auburn and Gus Malzahn, they identified who they wanted in this class early, and with the success they had from last year's recruiting class and that turnaround, it got people interested in Auburn in this 2015 class. It got people interested in Auburn quickly, and they've been able to piggyback off that success. You have 14 commitments. That's a huge number right now. Alabama, Penn State, other teams that are high up there with Auburn right now, they have about around that. But then you look at a team who's a powerhouse in the national championship contender like Ohio State. Earlier this week, I was looking. I think they only have 2 or 3 commitments right now in this class, so they've got a lot of work to do. So Auburn is definitely ahead of the game. Commitments can change; they can flip, but Auburn has done a really good job of getting out in front and getting commitments from just some outstanding talent early on in this recruiting cycle.
Well, recruiting is an interesting business. You can have a lot of stars beside kids' names, and it can be really flashy. But if you don't fill your needs, it's kind of ends up being all for naught. Do you think Auburn is doing that right now? Are they filling their needs? What do you think they needed to do to finish out this class the most?
Well, yeah, I think Auburn has done a great job of getting the needs first. Malzahn has as many commitments you're going to get your needs, and then go the best available players after that. And it starts with the quarterback. You're losing Nick Marshall. You have some quarterbacks behind him, but you have a quarterback commitment in this class already, a long-time commitment. You're losing 2 running backs. You're picking up 2 of the best running backs in the class, and Vaughn Robinson coming back, and then Kerryon Johnson is the number 2 running back in the country right now, I believe. Last time I checked, they've been recalibrating all those rankings this week. But Auburn needed some depth at defensive back. Needed some depth, especially the star position. They've got a lot of guys who can play both linebacker and in the defensive back system. With Ellis Johnson's 4.25, very versatile. Auburn's very flexible in what they can do. If there was one thing I think Auburn really needed to close out with, it's probably a couple more big-time offensive line recruits. They're going after guys like Marquez Ivy, who's a 5-star tackle, number 1 tackle in the country. But there's several different players along the offensive line they can get. They've already got a good backbone of a class there. But the strange thing, when you look at the last couple of classes from Auburn, is they don't have any defensive line commitments right now. And you look when you had that class with Elijah Daniel and Carl Lawson and Montravius Adams, that led the way, and Auburn followed that up last year. But they don't have anybody yet. There's a lot of really good defensive linemen in this class in both the high school and the junior college ranks. And Auburn's got some work to do to catch up with some other schools and getting talented defensive linemen like that.
No doubt about it. Darren Payne, Trent Thompson, Dalen Mack, I believe, 3 enormous guys that Auburn has had contact with and would love to land, a couple of those guys. Definitely you can never have enough defensive linemen. One of the different strategies that Gus Malzahn has used, by my count, there were 8 junior college players drafted the entire time Gene Chizik was at Auburn. Gus Malzahn had 6 his first year, 6 the second year, and basically 3 already this year. What do you think about this strategy of going after junior college players?
Well, I wrote about it this morning. I found it really interesting that Gus Malzahn said, when he comes in 2012, he says, all right, we got some needs we got to get to right away from a 3-9 team. And he said, we're going to use junior college players to fill those needs. And then he said, that probably won't be the norm. But then he turns around and gets 6 more junior college players. And, a lot of times especially in the SEC, when you see teams go out and get junior college players, it's for getting guys who can come in and make an instant impact, like a Cam Newton, like a Nick Marshall. But Auburn's also done a great job of building depth, filling some holes where they might be a little inexperienced down the line. When you think of guys like Xavier Dampier, who was the number 1 junior college center, he's going to back up Reese Dismuke. After this year, you're losing a 4-year starter in Dismuke. He's been such a huge part of that offensive line at Auburn. I think Auburn has that mentality, though, where they're going to get the best available players for Auburn. You look at teams like Alabama and LSU, especially Alabama, they like, Nick Saban likes his process of getting guys in from high school and getting that 4-year or 3 years most of the time of commitment, developing them that way. But Auburn has seen no problem in coming in and getting a junior college guy and plugging him in right away. And you'll see that this year from guys like Steele Williams, who will probably start, and then a guy like Derek Moncrief probably going to start in the secondary for Auburn as well.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue with Auburn over the last maybe 10 years. You look at some of the junior college transfers they brought in, Cam Newton, Nick Fairley, Desmond Washington, Brandon Mosley, Ren Bradley, Nick Marshall, Duke Williams, like you said. They've had a lot of success bringing in these guys, and really, interestingly enough, a team that they're going to play this year, Kansas State. Bill Snyder has kind of made a career out of doing this, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I was reading an article the other day from about a couple months back, and they said that Bill Snyder had signed 70 JUCO players from 2006 to 2012, and Auburn had only signed 18. So he builds his program out there because you have so many great junior college programs. In fact, Kansas State was the leader for Nick Marshall at one point. Auburn ended up swooping in and getting him toward the end of or the beginning of last year, rather. And Kansas State, it's interesting. This team, when Auburn goes and plays them this Thursday night in September, this team's very disciplined. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't make a lot of penalties because they have that experience of playing in junior college ball, and they're first and second year players to Kansas State, but they're very experienced in what they bring. So I think that's going to be a really interesting test to see how Auburn plays in that second part of that really delayed home and home series Auburn had with them.
We've got Justin Ferguson, managing editor for the Auburn Plainsman and lead writer for Auburn at the Bleacher Report. It's an interesting thing recruiting a lot of JUCO players. Obviously, Auburn hasn't gone overboard. Like they don't do it quite like Kansas State does, but they are bringing in their fair share, more than they have in the past. Do you see a downside to bringing in so many junior college transfers?
I think the only downside is you don't have as much time with him, as easy as that sounds. With a guy like Cam Newton and a guy like Nick Marshall, Cam was only here for a year, but Nick Marshall's only going to be here for 2 years. So there's a thing, you don't want to base your team on them, because you're going to have to recruit a lot. You're going to have to hit junior college players over and over and over again if you want to build a team like them. And I don't think Auburn has that capability just yet. You got to be able to build that depth with high school players. But junior college players, to fill in these gaps that Auburn may have in the depth chart, I think it's good for that. It's good for making instant impacts and building quality depth. But you wouldn't. I don't think in the SEC you would want to build your team just based on junior college athletes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Justin, we were discussing earlier today, and with the SEC schedule coming out, we were talking about Florida and the lack of playing between Auburn and Florida, and kind of how they've lost that rivalry. Now, some of us that are a little older, we remember a lot of great Auburn-Florida games, and I'm interested. A guy that's a younger guy like yourself, do you think that that's a good idea, bad idea? Do you care that Florida is not going to be on the schedule for maybe twice in the next till 2025?
As someone who's watched Auburn football all his life, you missed that Florida game, and I definitely only playing Florida 2 times in this next 10, 15 years is difficult, because you remember those great games. And, I don't remember all these games I've heard some of the callers mention today, but you think about 2006, Trey Smith block punt for a touchdown, in games like that, and you miss playing Florida, because that's one of the SEC's best teams, and it's a rivalry. It's not as strong as the Georgia rivalry, or definitely not as strong as the Alabama rivalry, but I think a lot of Auburn fans, and I think students that come from around here and know Auburn football, would love to play Florida as often as they would, instead of picking up somebody like Missouri and Vanderbilt and Kentucky rotating every year. They'd rather see Florida than play Florida a lot more.
We got Justin Ferguson, managing editor of the Auburn Plainsman and lead writer for Auburn at the Bleacher Report. Justin, before we let you go, just tell everybody how they can look you up online or your Twitter tag or whatever, how they can look and read your stuff.
The easiest way to find all my stuff is tweet a lot of links. At my Twitter handle is @jfergusonau, and if you search my name, Justin Ferguson, Bleacher Report, or the Auburn Plainsman, you can find me there, theplainsman.com. You can go and look at our sports from there, and Bleacher Report, I'm there under, click on SEC and Auburn and college football. I'm usually right near at the top with the lead writers there.
Justin Ferguson, thank you so much for being a part of Sports Call this afternoon.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. We're going to get to our next break. We'll be back for one final segment on this beautiful Friday Sports Call.
Ever wondered what LMG can do for you? The possibilities are endless.
LMG offers custom apparel and promotional products, any type of signage and vehicle wraps, web design and internet marketing, video production, paper products, and more. Visit us online at leemarketing.net. 3 locations to best serve you: Madison Street in Alexander City, Highway 280 in Dadeville, and Frederick Road in Auburn. LMG, success by design.
In a world that's ever-changing, you have to be sure that your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a 4-year college or university, or being a part of our national championship winning traditions, Central Alabama will provide you with courses and degree programs in tune with today's workplace. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success.
S&S Discount Tire on Cherokee Road in Alex City is the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealership and a place for everything mechanical. Weary and the S&S Tire crew are ready to serve you with double the capacity from routine oil changes to full engine overhauls and all transmission work. S&S Tire can handle it all. That's S&S Tire on Cherokee Road. Call David or Weary today at 256-215-8822. Visit S&S Discount Tire at 224 East South Street in David, now in 2 locations.
Sperlin Recycling is an Alabama-based recycling company specializing in the recycling of metal, aluminum, copper, ferrous, and non-ferrous waste. Sperlin Recycling is available for all your commercial recycling needs, including demolition, on-site scrap removal, and roll-off services. Sperlin Recycling is a family-owned corporation with several generations of experience. Call us today at 256-234-0903 and visit us online at www.sperlinrecycling.com.
Before the big game on Saturday, tune in to Saturday Sports Countdown on FM Talk 95.9 from 10 a.m. to noon. Luke Robinson, Randy Lee, and Brett Pritchard break down the day's biggest games and keep you up to date on the latest from the sports world. Call the guys at 256-234-6464 and watch live at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Saturday Sports Countdown, 10 a.m. to noon on FM Talk 95.9.
There's no doubt that high school and college athletics rule the state of Alabama. Increase exposure for your business by spending your advertising dollars on the best sports programming in Alabama with Sports Blitz, Sportscall, and the AHSAA radio network. In a sports-hungry state like Alabama, Sports Blitz, Sportscall, and the AHSAA radio network will offer your business the best return on investment. We have packages designed to fit any budget. Call today at 256-794-8223.
Remove the hard work and confusion from growing your business with brand management and growth through Lee Marketing Group. LMG offers logo design, web development, search engine optimization, social media management, and more. Physical and virtual marketing is an amazing tool businesses need to utilize in today's economy. Stay ahead of your competition and reach new customers. Contact us today, 888-533-6758, or visit us online at leemarketing.net to learn more.
Looking for the most comprehensive sports show in Alabama? Catch Sports Blitz live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Join Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, and Luke Robinson as they discuss the latest in high school, collegiate, and nationwide athletics. Tune in to FM Talk 95.9, watch live on ACN Charter Channel 80, or catch the live stream at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Sports Blitz Live, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Welcome back to Sports Call on this Friday afternoon. Sports Call presented by Always Money.
I like that, Always Money. You want to talk about giving a positive spin to close out a program or any time throughout. When you always Money is just that's a great name.
That's what they used to call me on the court, Always Money. My name is Andy Graham, alongside my partner Randy Lee. We'll be with you for this final segment. Still time to get your phone call in. 887-3401. A great time, and also hope you are safe out there. This segment brought to you by Resource Natural Spring Water. Randy, did you know Resource bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic? Hey, that's great for the environment. Right now, TK's convenience stores are offering a buy one, get one free special on bottles of Resource Natural Spring Water. So, hey, you can help the environment and quench your thirst at the same time.
888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. One of the quick hitters we didn't get to, and I would like to know your thoughts. Derek Thomas, finally, we're Auburn fans, but I can tip my hat to Derek Thomas and his 1988 season with his 27 sacks, and somehow in the world finished 5th or 6th in the Heisman voting that year. How that happened, I have no clue, but we're near that number. They're a Heisman Trophy winner. Move forward.
I mean, 52, I believe, in his career. We talked about this. Nick Fairley, one of the most dominating defensive linemen we've ever seen. leads Auburn in a single sack, and he's got what, 13, 12, something like that. He had 27. It is unbelievable. And of course, him going in the Hall of Fame this year, obviously well deserved. Even Auburn fans are kind of in awe of what he did and the kind of player he was, and so glad that he's gone. And he played at a time when Auburn dominated Alabama. There in the late 80s.
Well, and the 27 you said in 1 year, 52 in his career, just to put a little icing on the cake. Jadeveon Clowney just goes number 1 in the draft. He only had 24 sacks in his history there at South Carolina. So that's the difference that you see right here with Derek. And passing, I mean, today's game is more passing than you saw back then. I think there are more opportunities for these sacks. Love to hear from you. 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. A quick little note for you here. Out of the 23 players that will be making the trip to Brazil for the U.S. soccer team, how many goals will they be taking down there with them? Landon Donovan will not be making the trip. And I'll give you a hint out there. You got a couple more minutes to call in and win a Sports Call T-shirt, as we'll give away a T-shirt and a decal, compliments of Lee Marketing Group over on Frederick Road in Opelika. Landon Donovan with 5 is more goals than we're taking down with us to Brazil.
Well, that's kind of staggering. Not good being in the pool that America is in. I believe they call it the pool of death. So Landon Donovan, you leave him off. He's your kind of your face of your team. If you don't get out of that first round, people are going to talk. I mean, Jurgen Klinsmann, I think he's done great things for United States soccer, but interesting. But of course, if United States wins that pool, nobody will say a word.
We'd love to hear from you again. Well, let's go back to the phone lines. Tony, you're on Sports Call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're there with us, Tony.
I got a comment on Shadow's stuff. I'm a big Alabama fan, and I want to comment on Shadow's stuff about the Alabama being rated and all that. And I want to throw it in a reverse mode. Just say that Auburn ends up somehow number 2 and we number 3, and Auburn loses. Does he think Auburn should make the playoffs? And I'll just hang up and listen to the comment.
I'm sure that he probably does. I could envision a scenario much like last year if both teams are undefeated when they play. The loser of that game has a great opportunity to make the playoff, especially if the game is close. I definitely could see that. I can't speak for Shadow. I don't can't read his mind. Wouldn't want to get involved in that. But I think I could see Auburn benefiting, from being the same way that Alabama has benefited lately. That's going to do it for us. The music is playing. This is the Friday edition of Sports Call. Brett Pritchard and myself will be with you on 95.9 tomorrow morning from 10 to 12 for the Saturday Sports Countdown. Be sure to join us there. We appreciate so much all of our callers and all of you out there listening. Sports Call is, of course, brought to you by Always Money. Will's going to be back with you on Monday for Justin Clayton, our producer, and Randy Lee. My name's Andy Graham, wishing you a happy Memorial Day and saying so long for now. We'll talk again soon.